name is Jake Leiper, better known as DDR Jake. I'm the director of Europa Universalis IV, and yes, here to talk to you about Dharma. It is the big India expansion in Europa Universalis IV. I have here a hot version of the game, still in development of course, and I'm going to be showing you through a lot of the changes and new features that we have added. If you have any questions that you want to throw to me along the way, that's great. Otherwise, I can happily take them at the end. So why don't we just get going with it? Immediately we can see we have done massive changes to the subcontinent. Some lovely numbers for you is that we've added over 100 new provinces and dozens of new countries to the setup. So India and the surrounding regions have become a real hot topic now. Of course, not just India, we have decided to do the surrounding regions. Tibet has seen a facelift here, and much to the disappointment of both the people that live in Changtang, it's been designated a wasteland to afford some better strategic depth in the area. We've also taken the opportunity to give the Burmese region a facelift. Ava in particular are now the tributary overlords of really the whole region around them. So it's going to be quite a dynamic play to see if they can maintain their hold there in the face of the Chinese Empire to the east. So why don't we just jump right into the game here. We're going to start as Delhi, since they have a particularly interesting setup here at the start of the game. And why don't we get some audio as well, that would be brilliant. I'm going to play in normal mode because I'm not try-harding today. I mean, I could sit here and just conquer the world here, but we only have a short while, unfortunately, so we'll have to do the whistle-stop tour. Okay, so we start as Delhi because they have a pretty interesting setup from the start. Previously, they were met with a big revolt at the start of the game. We decided to actually model that revolt by actually Punjab being on the map. We can see that Lodi here is in charge, and Delhi's grip on the north, which they used to have very tight control over, is now slipping. As you can see, they once held vast territory and are reduced to very little, so they have to manage their subjects well if they want to make a comeback. Otherwise, the hungry powerhouses of Jampur, indeed the insurgent Punjab, might take the Delhi crown for themselves and deform it. So, what new things do we have for Delhi? Well, we're going to touch on the biggest change that we've made in Dharma straight away, and that is the government reforms. So, we decided that in Dharma we are going to be burning down the old system of governments and bringing it up anew with the new reform system. So, in this new setup, you are one of 4 government types. You will be a monarchy, or a republic, a theocratic government, or a tribal nation. And the exact flavor of that will be determined by the reforms that you pass through. So everybody starts with their first one, and here indeed Delhi is of course an Indian sultanate, that is their power structure. And as they gain their reform progress, they will be able to pass more reforms, offering them different bonuses and different access to mechanics along the way. Certain nations, for example, can unlock parliaments throughout this. Perhaps you want to adopt the Prussian militarization system for yourself. That will be determined through your government reforms. So why don't we, let's go past some ourselves here. I'm a bit of a console gamer, so I'm going to use some cheats here to pass things along. So I think we want some reform progress. Give me a number. Give me a big number from the crowd. 10,000. Whoa! I like the way you think there. All right, well, we can pass reforms for days now. Normally this will tick up dependent on how tight a grip you have in your country. So if you have your lands with all chord stated and without much autonomy, then this is going to tick up a lot faster. But you know, we're power gamers here. We've got 10,000 to play with immediately. So we can answer the question of noble privileges. Are we going to curtail them or strengthen them? Let's strengthen them. It's going to give us some extra manpower along the way and of course cost us reform points. It's now become more expensive to pass the next one. These will get progressively more expensive to pass. We can answer the question of how we want to do our bureaucracy, decentralized or centralize it. We can add more promoted cultures, and we go along the way. There are many of these to check out, and we're just going to power our way through them because we have the power. Finally though, it's going to offer you the choice of the separation of power. And this is the way that we're offering a lot of agency to our players, because some people, you know, they really want to be a republic, or they really want to be a theocratic government, and they currently, it's a bit clunky how it's handled. So here it's a question of the final reform that you pass, so you can of course go for some political absolutism and maintain, for example, we are a monarchy here, but of course you can become a republic this way, change your way to the republic, and then work your way through the republic reforms. There are different ones for the monarchies, the republics, theocratics, and tribals. And indeed, we can install a theocratic government. So those are options available for the government system. And the government system is for the whole world, right? This is not just for Indians. If you have played 7,000 hours and you only play Byzantium, you will have access to these as well.
Could I ask a question?
Certainly.
If you rise to absolutism, which is the leftmost icon here,
yes.
Do you get it before you enter the age of absolutism as a mechanic?
This will be, it will only give you the absolutism in the age of absolutism times. If you're able to get this far before the age of absolutism, then my hat's off to you on that one. Because it will, by this point, it'll be quite expensive to power through the reforms. But no, good question. It is for the absolutism mechanics. Yes, in the middle.
If you was a monarchy and then became a republic, you still got your feudal from your monarchy bonuses, right? On power, for example.
Ah, yes. So
or they will just drop.
Yeah, when you decide to change fundamentally your government, for example, here become a republic, and of course there are still events and such in the game that will potentially change your government type. You will be rolled back on reforms, so you will have some reforms left that you can choose in new government reforms for republics, but you will still have some more that you have to fill out. Did that answer the question?
Yep.
Great, fantastic. Okay, so that's the government stuff. We'll take another look at this when we jump into another nation down the line. But as I said, this is available to everybody in the world here, and this is for Dharma owners. So if you just update the game, the government is going to work in a similar way to that it did before. The reforms are linked to Dharma. Okay, I mentioned the setup here for Delhi being quite interesting. They're going to have to balance their subjects Punjab and Bangladesh. The setup in India has been changed really quite a lot, with loads of new nations and provinces added. The coastline in particular rich with a lot more provinces around here. And Orissa has an interesting starting situation where they have the Garjat tribes somewhat subjugated, but if anybody pierces through that, they themselves are very vulnerable to attack. Lots of mini stories like that within India. Another thing I want to touch upon while we're still in Delhi is the mission system. Now, if you were keeping track of Rule Britannia, we overhauled the mission system in its entirety, and to show our continued support of our new system, many Indian nations are going to find their new, unique mission trees as well. Delhi is one such nation. I don't have a complete list because, as I said, we're still in development, but the majors are going to see it. You will see one for Delhi, Vijayanagar, I believe Bahmanis, Bengal, many of them. So Delhi in particular, as you can see here, have their own unique mission trees. Right, so enough about the north, exciting as it is. We're going to pop down to a very popular nation to play in India, and that is Vijayanagar. And that is how it's pronounced, except no alternatives. So let's tag over to Vij here. And once again, yes, they too have their unique mission tree. I want to show this one off while we're at it. Art is not final, but there's a lot of things not final in this build, I trust you appreciate. It goes all the way down. In fact, they follow their mission trees. They will be having ambitions across the way, meeting all the way to securing trade down in Zanzibar and heading across to Bengal as well. And if I go over to the reforms, they too are a monarchy. However, there are special flavors of reforms available to certain countries in the world, and here in Vijayanagar, they are unique to having access to it. And I apologize if anybody in the future is going to watch this from India, but the Nayankara system, that is a special reform available to Vijayanagar and is one of the examples of unique reforms available to different countries in the world. The next change is going to be a pretty big one that people have long suspected we would never do, but a common theme throughout this expansion is changing fundamental stuff to the game to perhaps never thought we would, and that is the estates. The estates system is fundamentally now a free feature in the game. When you update to 1.26, you will have access to the estate system, and what we have done is made some lovely tweaks to it to make it a lot more usable. They will no longer demand or nag at you for minimum territory, and the disasters related to them will take up at 100% rather than 80%, just for some added clarity there. And for Dharma owners, we have added new types of estates, and those are the castes in India. So you might see that there are none of the merchant guilds here, or the clergy, or the nobility here. No, instead we have the Bahmani caste, the Jains, the Marathas, and the Vaishya. Again, apologies to anybody from India that has to hear me butcher words from your home. So yes, these have their unique interactions, their unique demands, just a lot of differences for these flavorful caste estates that are available in India.
You still grant them land?
Yes, you certainly still grant them land, so if I wanted to go here and grant the land out, I can give it to whoever I want. As I said, they have their own particulars that they want, so the Vaishyas, they want there to be at least some development or trade power right there. And yeah, that is how they will gain their influence and loyalty to you. Okay, right, speaking of the lands, Vijayanagar has a bunch of land that's frankly too autonomous. And if there's one thing I don't like, it's freedom for the people. So we're going to clamp down on that and decrease autonomy around here. They should be paying their taxes, making more cloth for me, mining out more iron for me. That's what I like to see. Unfortunately, people tend to get a bit angry about that. Now we have unrest here. So how are we going to deal with that? Well, what I'm going to use here is one of the new features in Dharma, and that is the rebel suppression that we have here. Autonomous rebel suppression, and now what you do is you can select areas where you want your armies to clamp down on rebels. Now they will do two things. They will crush rebels in bloody battle, and you know, I'm all for that, I want to see that. But they will also reduce the likeliness of rebels. They will spread a reduction in unrest in areas that you assign them to. And as you see, you assign them to areas, as long as it's adjacent to where they start from, and they will remain here and reduce the unrest in this area, and then if there is a revolt, they will march down and slaughter them as well, they should. Okay, what else do we have to show for you here? Well, bear with me here, but I'm going to tap into my console gaming powers again, and we're going to give ourselves some tech, because I like tech, and loads of PowerPoints. Who was that guy that said 10,000? I like that number, so we're going to roll with that again. And as you progress in the game, as you well know, you take ideas. I'm going to take innovative ideas, they're good. Espionage, that's my favourite idea group, most powerful in the game, so we'll go with that. And yeah, offensive, we like them. And we're gonna fill them out. Now I'm just this good that I can get them all done in 1444, so don't worry about it. Now, as you unlock ideas and flesh them out, you gain access to these things called policies. And again, sticking with the theme of not being afraid to change core systems that we have in the game, policies have been around for quite some time, but in Dharma we've decided, you know what, we can do better. So we have redone policies in a big way here. Now policies are dependent on the particular power type that they relate to. So you have administrative policies, diplomatic policies, and military policies. And you can have up to 3 of each of them. Well, why say it when we can do it here? So we're going to grab one of these administrative policies right here. And notice it takes up the admin line, and then a diplo one, and a military one here. So previously, a bit of a problem with policies, you were really tied into them. So if you took some nice like economy boosting ones and you found yourself at war, very inflexible to change them out, and in the end people just really wanted to roll with hardcore military policies. So what we have done is that if you want your military policies, they're right here, and it's not going to step on the toes if you may be really wanting to work on your trade or your aggressive expansion reducing policies that you want to pass. And in addition to this, like the good candy man, the first taste is always free. You can have one of each type of policy without it costing monarch points, and then above and beyond that you can choose if you want to take more of them. Additionally, this is tied into the government reform system we were talking about, so you might find reforms that will offer you more policies or more free policies that you have access to. So again, another system that we decided, you know, despite the game being over 5 years old, we can take these things and not be afraid to make big changes to the game. Okay, so a question that might come up, I'm just going to ask myself the questions I want to hear here. It's like, oh man, this looks great, but I've played 5,000 hours of the game, and I only play Portugal, so what is this expansion going to have for me? Why should I be interested in Dharma? To which I go, ha, you've fallen into my trap here, Portugal. So let's jump over here. Let's find Johnny 5,000 hours his game. So he plays as Portugal. Let's reveal the map for us because we're console gamers here. And you know, a good move for Portugal is to make your way over to the Horn of Africa. So let's imagine. Let's make believe that we did. I think they are MRE. I can spell. Trouble being in Sweden is all these Swedish keyboards that just knacker me. There we go. So we've secured ourselves in the Horn of Africa. By this time, we probably have a bit of tech and a bit of money in the bag. That sounds pretty good. Now we look at India, which has a whole load more provinces and loads more countries, and we're like, what can we get out of this? Well, Portugal, they're the ever crafty Portuguese. We have now, with Dharma, offered you the opportunity to charter a company. I'm going to just strong-arm them here to accepting, but what this means is if you have the colonial range for the provinces here, you can actually barter with the owner of them and make purchases of land in the trade company regions. This question came up before. This is not exclusive to India. You can do it in any of the trade company regions. So if you've made your way down to Southeast Asia, or indeed you wanted to secure Zanzibar by power of ducat, and who wouldn't? So let's say it in action, you can click on the province. Let's go totally ahistorical and go for Portuguese Goa. That would never catch on. And indeed you can choose the amount of money, so they might not want to give it for a small sum. You might have to pack a bit more money, or up your diplomatic reputation, or have more trust to them. There are various diplomatic factors involved, as there are with most of these. So yeah, there we go. I'm tight-fisted, so they'll get the smallest amount of money possible. We confirm that, and hey presto. What happens is the province is ceded to you, and it's added to the trade company. So trade companies are locked behind another expansion, but if you have Dharma, you'll have access to them as well, because they're really tied to the mechanics here. We thought, why not? So in exchange for money, we have grabbed the land, and countries will be a bit less keen on giving you land after you've already acquired some, but it'll certainly help get you a good beachhead, and perhaps you want to grab the important centres of trade along the coastline. We have actually, as I mentioned before, added a lot more coastal provinces along the line, so you will, players and AI alike, be seeing presence along the coast of India at the very least. So I don't really like Bahmanes because they didn't have a coast to give me. That might not be their fault, but I'm still angry with them. So I think the mature and sensible thing to do is to send them an insult. But not just any insult, because I have Dharma, I'm choosing to give them a scornful insult. At the cost of a little bit of prestige, we'll make them hate us even more. Why would I want to do that? Well, I'm also going to impress their enemies by doing this. They have the enemies of, looks like Vijayanagar, Gujarat, and I think that's Malwa there. And what's more is we've added a whole bunch of stock insults that you can throw at them. I heard your son enjoys hunting. Do be careful, it would be such a shame if an unforeseen accident would happen. So yeah, I think you'll really love a letter that really tells us how much we care about his son and want him to be okay. So if we fire that off, you gain more power projection if they're your rival, and as I said, the enemies of the person you send this to are going to like you that bit more. So if we really want to foster good relations with Vijayanagar, maybe get them to sell us more land, perhaps we should send these scornful insults. These are also based culturally and on the personality of the ruler. So you might see some Easter eggs there as well. I don't want to spoil everything there. Okay, I think the last thing I want to look at here in the show of Dharma, and this is by no means showing everything we have on offer in the game. It's still in Still working away at it, but there are tons of features in there. This is just the very top in here. I'm going to tag over to Orissa, right? Because I went a bit insane during the progress of this, and I decreed that there's one thing that there must be in the India expansion, and that is the ability to ride some big-ass elephants into battle. So if you are playing in India, your cavalry models will be represented with elephants.
3,000 elephants?
Pardon?
3,000 elephants?
3,000 elephants, why not? The numbers are always abstracted in battle, but why don't we'll get these guys into battle for you, taking some photos, why not? Because basically I just love elephants and we have to have them in there, so that's how we're doing it. Right, let's have a wee revolt there and we're going to trample them down. There we go, now that guy must be bricking himself. So there we go, that is our Dharma presentation. Like I said, this is by no means an exhaustive list of all the changes and the mechanics that we have on offer. I'm not going to hold on to you guys if you want to go around and explore a bit more, but I'm certainly open to any questions that you may have. Somebody.
Give us a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the sight of elephant trampling over the guy is overwhelming.
By the way, it's a little useless. Yeah.
What is useless? The elephant?
No, the guy with the spear.
Yeah, he's not going to last.
Yeah.
We will, the model elephants will change in time. I mean, these technologies.
The rider is certainly not going to still be using a pike when guns are... Actually, I wonder... Now this is us going off the rails for what I planned to show here, but why not? Can we do this? Can we up ourselves in tech?
Cyber elephants.
There we go. No, I don't think the guns are in there yet. So, but yes, they will upgrade through the tech. Well, thank you.
We've been buying and selling guns. I mean, if we're playing as Indians or as Japanese, and we have Holland established a trading company here, can we buy guns from them and armor? Will that be developed sometime, or it's...
So you mean more like Europeans bringing over specific
yes.
technologies? It's certainly an interesting idea to actually model instead of abstracting as much as we do with the institutions. I can't say that we have a commitment to doing that, but it's certainly an idea that I like.
Okay. About the features becoming free, like the trading companies that come with Dharma that used to be in their separate paid-for add-on, and the same with the class system, with the caste system. Do you think that there will be some player discontent about that?
Alright, so that is a good point. So we have, obviously, like we sold an expansion that had these features and then later on go, okay, well now these are going to be available. There are a lot of good reasons that we do that. It offers us a lot more flexibility of using them, and generally people tend to be happy with this. Of course, there are some people that go, okay, I pay for this, but we decided to be fair for that. We are actually introducing some features to, so you didn't have, you no longer have that exclusivity of the feature in that DLC, but there are also features being added for that DLC in addition to it. And it wasn't our plan to bring it up here, but why not? You asked the question, I must give you an answer. So if you have the Cossacks DLC, which is what the estates are tied to, for example, we are adding a feature where you can be a breakaway nation. So the Cossack estate, the estate type, is still tied to the Cossacks expansion, and when they gain enough power, previously they'd have a disaster and become their own nation, we have a breakaway play as them. So when they break away, you can decide, okay, no, I am going to be the Cossacks, and you will become the Cossack nation, and you will have your own specific abilities with that. I can't go into the details on the mechanics of that yet, but this is how we reimburse. Maybe isn't the right word, but the idea of conveying is you get something back, even though you bought the expansion a time ago.
Okay, could you clarify this feature a bit, because I want to know, if you're playing as Russia and you have a big Cossack estate and the crisis happens, do you choose that I will keep playing as Russia, or I will keep
You will have the choice to, yes, keep playing as Russia and then crush down on these dissidents, or to play as the Cossack breakaway.
There are a lot of Ukrainians here, actually.
Also a lot of Russians.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to ask about Russia because the States is always fun.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the fun things that happened was discontent because with the States you always had this internal strife going on with either you get very influential estates and the risk of them going out of control. And now when you don't have to assign them land, one that makes them pretty much redundant, and the big empires can be more stable if they simply take the land for the crown.
So essentially you will get out what you put in. So if you decide not to assign them land, then they won't have the influence for you to actually do interactions with them, and they're not going to offer you much strong support. Whereas if you play into the system and do offer them land, then you give and you're able to receive more, and then of course you run the risk of them getting too powerful and giving you problems with the disasters and revolts. So the conscious change that we've made here is, instead of the game nagging you constantly, you take land, you already have to worry about people rising up there and coring the land. We want to take away the idea that the game is then nagging you. I am the clergy class. Where's my land? Give me my land. That nagging sensation is something we wanted to get away from. So now it's your choice to engage with them. Give you the agency to do that rather than being felt that you must.
Okay, but the major concern is that right now the winning strategy is to get as much administrative points as possible. So what we end up with the states where the nobles have no land, the trading companies have no land, but the clergy has everything, so you could just request administrative support, and they're basically the only ones you have to pay attention to.
Yeah, and then you're not really going to receive anything from your merchant class or your nobility. But if you actually want to receive stuff from them, you have to play into it.
Yeah, I know, but the bonuses from them aren't as powerful as those from the clergy, because administrative points go into coring, into hard coring.
Yeah.
They go into the new ideas, they go into everything, including reducing stability, while military, okay, they can suppress the revolt for what, a few months, okay, I can live without that.
Yeah. No, it sounds like you have some balanced ideas, so I'd be happy to talk to you after.
No, I mean,
this,
that's not my ideas, I just read the forums, and the power play guides are all about get as much administrative point as possible, focus on administrative, from the beginning until the end.
Yeah, that might be how they choose to play. The way I see it, like, that's their choice to play into it, to drink out all the admin points that they can. I know there are other players that they want all the mill points that they can get, so they will ride the nobility as hard as they can.
Okay. So you don't see this as a balance issue?
Not particularly. I've seen both sides of it.
What about the ages system? Is it going to get reworked? And not the ages, the technologies like the colonialism, the mercantilism that usually get started in Europe, and then you have to pay the province development cost, because the colonialism, if you play as Russia and you don't have actually the colonies.
You mean the institutions?
Yes, institutions.
We have.
Correct.
We have some tweaks in mind for it, but nothing overhaul level of it.
Will the development of provinces for monarch points ever become free? Because right now people, I read some comments on Steam, I don't know which expansion actually allows you to do it. Maybe it was Republic.
In common sense.
Yes, common sense. And they're basically saying that Paradox is strong arming us to pay them for this and that done, because without the province development we're at a big disadvantage.
We stand by having province development as part of common sense. The whole free feature, or the free change, was to overhaul the whole base tax and actually have development there, and the interaction being tied to common sense. There is, you're squeezing the features from Dharma out of me here, but why not? This is the time for it. We have introduced a new way to increase development in provinces without costing monarch points in Dharma, where you can choose to do settlement growth if you have. Yeah, let's just go into it. You have colonists. I wonder if the UI is in here for this. Okay, it's not in, but I can tell you about it. What we have is that if you have colonists and either you don't want to or you're done with the colonizing, you can assign them to provinces, and they will over time grow those provinces and add development to it. So if you are not getting the common sense to raise it with the monarch points, if you have Dharma, you'll have the ability to do it with your colonists. So you assign the colonist to a province, and depending on how much development is already there, and also how open it is. So this grassland with relatively low development will have a much easier chance of it, and he will steadily grow the development in the province. So it's another way to grow your development other than through monarch points.
So more intensive expansions instead of more intention. Forget it. I don't know how to say it in English.
Yeah. But yes, the intention is to grow it slowly with your agent of your colonization agent, colonist.
Instead of expansion, you just intensify the production.
Yeah. Because you can reach a point where it's like, okay, this land is available to colonize, and I already have everything I want here, so you can put him to work doing other things there. Or maybe you get expansion or exploration ideas, but don't actually want to go here. You can use them internally instead.
Any new casus belli?
Casus belli, I believe not. But I'm going to go with no.
Okay.
Look at this, you're grilling me for all the right questions here.
Well, you asked for it.
Yeah, no, by all means.
I mean, once you told that the add-on the system we should help you to transfer your save beams to the Victoria, I believe, and then to Persephone and something like that, you told that it was your paradox fault, that it works very bad, but I know many people who likes it, who want to play it, so have you ever thought about working on it to make it work?
So we maintain the CK2 to EU4 converter, but we don't currently have any plans to work on or enhance the converter beyond that.
That's sad.
Very sad. I sympathize with you there, but it's not currently on the table.
Will there be a way to change the technology group of the country? I mean, if there is enough influence. Right now, we have finally the option of changing the government type manually if you want to. So will we be able to, like, or is it hardcore in people's minds? So Indians can never leave the Eastern.
It's not currently on the cards. There's a lot of things that are tied to your tech group. There's also like cultural graphics and unit types and such that tend to be linked there. We don't currently have any plans to give you agency over changing that, is the answer there. I think we're also running past our time, if I'm not mistaken. We had until 11?
Probably is.
Yeah.
It's 11 sharp right now.
Yeah. It's been great though. I mean, thanks for coming. Thanks for the probing questions. That's what you're here to squeeze out of me. But yeah, look forward to Dharma coming soon.
Thank you. Thank
I
you.
like to say soon. We'll go with soon.